Well, hello guys, this is your girl Ziva Fashionista bringing you my very first review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I know we're in season 13. It's the first time I'm reviewing it. I think when I first became aware of show reviews, I saw so many people with just huge channels reviewing the show. So I was like, well, why should little old me review this show? But I decided I would review this show because a lot of times I do have an unpopular opinion. I don't agree with some of the stuff that, people are saying. And I kind of see, you can kind of tell who watches who, and you kind of share opinions and things like that. So ain't gonna be none of that over here. It's gonna be my true and honest opinion. And I'm also excited about the newcomers to the show. But we didn't get to see that in this first episode, which is season 13. Episode 1. I believe it was entitled No Justice, No Peace. But don't get me to lying to y'all. I know I'm not gonna be able to keep up with the titles of the show. I just happened to look just so I know for sure what season we were in. I saw the title, but yeah, girl, I'm not keeping up with that. We start off this episode with the ladies discussing the current state of the world, the current state of affairs. We all know we're going through a pandemic. We went through a quarantine. A lot of this is filmed straight out of quarantine. Some of it was filmed while we were still in quarantine. And just seeing how it affected the ladies. Because I believe we watched the show to see how the other half, how they live. So to see how it affected them, that they weren't just immune to losses, or they weren't immune to just loss of income or being home, and how them being at home, they were affected the same way we were. It's actually good to see. I think that this episode was rather somber. If you watch the super trailer, it seems like with what they were able to get, it was hyped up, and it's like, okay, this is different. But I think that the way they started off the show was appropriate. It was very fitting for what's going on, because I think that if we would see them being super turned, especially right off the out the gate, when we're still out, a lot of us are still at home, or a lot of us, our lives have been affected, and we're not back at business as usual, I think that would have been insensitive. So seeing it, even though it was a kind of somber episode, I do feel like it was appropriate to start off the episode. And hearing how the ladies were talking, they're at home, they're going crazy, you're having struggles with your partners. That's like, aren't we all? Gained weight. Oh my gosh. Oh my, can you say she gained 30 pounds? It showed, and I'm not about to fat shame or size shame anyone, but for someone who's supermodel status, just so snatched, always together when you see us, very slim, aging very gracefully, to see her just a little pudgy in her opening scenes, it was like, oh, this is different, but you see as time goes on with the confessional, she gets back to snatch. But just seeing her with the little pudgy, little extra weight was something. Cynthia says she gained 20 pounds. I too have gained 20 pounds during quarantine. I can't get it off, so I'm trying, but yeah, so far, no results. But yeah, they also look good. I did notice, I was just like, oh my gosh, their booties was already big. It's just even bigger with that quarantine weight, but I digress. We start talking about what's going on in the world with, the unjust killing of George Floyd, and how this has motivated Portia into activism. Even though she comes from a background of activism, which we already know with her grandfather, this has motivated her to get out there and really, be on the scene and let her voice be heard. And I'm so proud of her. It's just such a departure from Underground Railroad Portia. And it was so funny because that's what I was thinking. I actually wrote that in my notes few minutes in, and then later on in the episode we see Bravo flashback. I love their little shady flashbacks. They flashback to her. It's like, well, who's driving the train? Portia, she's grown. And I'm like, yes, growth. And what Bravo also did, they flashed a few names. They took about Breonna Taylor, and they flashed a few other names, Philando Castile, if I'm not mistaken, Tamir Rice, I believe. And it's they flashed a few, but the sad part about it is Eric Garner. I think I remember seeing that as well. It flashed a few names, but it was so many more. And that's the sad part. And I think that we're just tired. People are tired of seeing or having incident after incident. I believe there was an incident yesterday as well. So I'm so proud of Portia for getting out there on the front lines and letting her voice be heard. We see later in the episode that she gets arrested and everyone's so concerned about her. What was weird for me was that she was traveling, and she was traveling with Dennis, and they didn't show Dennis. That was kind of weird to me. So I wonder if Dennis didn't sign his release or sign a contract for this season, but she acknowledges that she's with Dennis and she's marching and protesting with Dennis, but we don't see Dennis. So that was odd. So they meet at Kenya's house. And I saw the ladders up against it, and it was so funny because I know that's just an easy read to me because people are always talking about Kenya's house and how bad she live in a ditch, always saying these type of things. But to see her working on her house even during a pandemic it was nice to see. I'm like, you know what? You be proud of your ditch, girl. You make it the best ditch that anybody's ever seen. I really love to see it. And so the ladies come and they all drive in their luxury cars. So nice white luxury cars. I think I saw a Bentley and a Land Rover. You go, ladies. And they pull up, and it was just that was just funny. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing about that because I thought that was like really funny to see the ladies and see their bond. We have Kenzie and Cynthia coming to see Kenya, and I just love their relationship. I love that they're really close. I think that that's what we're gonna get. It's sad to see that Eva is gone. Sorry, I'm thinking Cynthia. My mind's on Cynthia. Eva is gone. I would have loved to see her this season, and it is sad to see Nene gone as well. I would love to see how they fared during the quarantine and how the pandemic is treating them. So to see them gone, it's like kind of sad, but I think that this core group of ladies that we have now are all here to play. It's nothing, there's no, I'm not filming with, this one, or I don't want to be in the scene. I'm not, they all pretty much get along, and they all pretty much get what they're there for, and they're willing to do the work. So that was good to see. They go inside and they start talking about, what's going on with them. And they started talking about nannies. And now, I do believe like Cynthia and, oh gosh, me and names. Sorry. Cynthia and Kenya are close. They're not too far off in age. I believe like Kenya's like 47-ish, 48, so that's not too far. But she does have a small child. She has like a 2-year-old, and she, Cynthia just sitting there like, yeah, that gotta be hard, while they're talking about nannies. Like Kenzie and Kenya talking about nannies, and it's just like, well, this one can't come to do this, and this one can't come to that. And I was just like, wow. Kenya acknowledges that she's a housewife, and I'm just like, yeah, so why you need a nanny? You got a business. She does have Kenya more hair care, but what are you doing that you really need that much help around the house? A housekeeper I probably would understand, but she's doing the cleaning while the nanny's doing the watching. But I guess that's not in my tax bracket, so I don't know. Get to Mike and Cynthia, and they're talking about their wedding. I gotta ask you guys, do y'all care? Like, is this something this is a storyline that we're invested in? Because we know what happens. They get married, they have this big, huge wedding. We know what happens. But I'm just like, do we care? Are we that invested in the storylines? And speaking of storylines, let me acknowledge that I do like them together. I do like their relationship. I think that they're both beautiful, and that's a beautiful couple. And I like how they're come together and they're going to do this bi-coastal, and they're making it work. And I think Cynthia deserves to be happy, and she's just so gorgeous. But speaking of storylines, like, how do y'all feel about these storylines? Like, I did hear people talking about beating a dead horse, so we kind of get Cynthia with this still with the wedding storyline. And then we have Kenzie and Riley with her going off to school, and also the storyline with her father, Block, I think his name is Rock, something to that effect, and he's not paying child support. And we're kind of like, okay, we've seen and heard this before. Now, seeing that Riley is the one bringing this up, Riley is the one that's encouraging her mom to pursue back child support, it makes it a little more palatable for me. Like, I kind of understand it better and I get it better, because it's like, to us, to John Q. Public, it's like, Candy, how rich are you? You rich. You have several streams of income. Do you really need this child support? But seeing that it's that Riley who wants it, because yeah, Riley's a spoiled girl. Like, you know, you come up in the lap of luxury, you probably have really rich friends, and it's like, you know, as Candy's saying, it's going to be a budget. You're going off to school, and it's just not going to be mommy's purse strings. It's like Riley's thinking like, well, you shouldn't have to just be supporting me and putting me through school. Like, I have a father. What's going on with that? So I understand this storyline coming back up. I hope it's not the central storyline for Candy, but then again, it's just like, I don't also want to see her having trouble in her relationship. If her and Todd is good, I like that. If her and Kayla's in a good space, I like that. Mama Joyce, we done seen her act up season after season. I'm pretty sure she's gonna act up this season too. We'll get to it, right? But yeah, I just don't know where they could go from here. I do like the flashback. I did like them flashing back 10 years to Cynthia's wedding with Peter, and now we know there's drama with her and Peter, like currently this week. So I love to see where they go. I also should touch on the fact that Kenya goes to see a divorce lawyer, and they talk about where she is and with the situation. And I saw in the super trailer, they asked that he said something like Mark is asking for alimony. And I'm like, no divorce lawyer that should know the legal jargon. It's palimony. I hate when people say that. Whenever it's a man, like it switches. It's palimony. I just anywho, see, I can't get people names straight. I'm talking about somebody saying the wrong legal term. Anywho, he did say something that I did really like. They talk about, you know, where they are in their relationship and where's Mark and how he's been with the baby. And she doesn't, I see that she doesn't want to slander him. She doesn't want, I get the gist that as bad as Mark has been to her, she doesn't want to lose her relationship. Marriage is important to women. I touched on this in a previous video about, you know, gender roles and gender expectations. And y'all wasn't feeling it, but I'm telling you, like, it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, marriage is important for women more so than men. And I'm generalizing because I'm pretty sure there's men who like, I can't wait to be married, I can't wait to find my wife. I'm sure that happens, but for some women, especially as they're getting up in age, you want to settle down. You know, you want the fairy tale. We were, especially children, people who were born especially before the 90s, we were sold that dream, that fairy tale, like the picket fence, the 2.5 kids, the puppy, like the marriage. Like, you were sold that. You were told your Prince Charming will come. And as you live real life and you realize that your happily ever after doesn't necessarily look like Cinderella or whoever you looked up to, whether Sleeping Beauty was your favorite princess, it doesn't necessarily look like that. And I think that Kenya is still chasing that fairy tale, and if that's what she wants, she should have it. But Mark ain't the one, and it's hard to see her friends thinking, like, you know, that her friends that's what they're feeling, you know, and they're being asked, and honestly it's like that's what they want to say, like, he ain't it, but it's hard to tell her that because that's not what she really wants. And seeing a divorce lawyer say, like, you know, like when they start filming the scene, like, even though they were still mic'd up, and he's talking to her like, why are you like so hung up on this dude? Like this is not you. This is not how you are. We've seen Kenya be very cutthroat, but for some reason Mark brings out the kitty cat in her, and I can't wait to see her get back to old Kenya. Because she, like, I don't personally like her, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't personally like her character, but I feel like she makes for great TV, and I love it. I love to see it. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll be back next week. Hopefully I can keep this up. I am excited about this season. I did enjoy tonight's show. No, it was kind of somber. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what else the ladies have for her. And I hope we do get to see Eva peek back in them. Even Nene, like, maybe peek back in. I doubt it. Oh, I didn't talk about Marlo and Marlo's with her shenanigans Marlo was being very funny about the pandemic. It was funny, Marlo. Yes, it was very funny. All her shenanigans with the social distancing, with her mask, taking the temperature. All that was very funny. I love seeing Marlo on this show. Keep her, please. You know, even though the pandemic, COVID-19, is not a laughing matter at all. It's a very deadly virus. People are still, you know, becoming sick more and more every day, and people are still losing loved ones. So funny as I was, let's please take this seriously. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so very much for watching. If I don't catch you, you will catch me in the next one, because Vlogmas Day is 7 tomorrow, 6. I lost count. Anywho, I'll be back. Later, guys.